And we are live. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. If you are new here, my name is Catriona, and excitingly today on the channel, I have with me the very lovely Heidi Swain.
Hello.
Everybody, big Heidi, welcome. And today I have got some burning questions for Heidi, and we are going to be talking about, of course, the Winter Garden. It's been out a month now, right?
Yes. Yeah. Month yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. And if you haven't got your copy yet, in the description box, you will find the buy link. I've put the UK and the US buy link in there. Would you like to tell us about this gorgeous book?
Oh, well, I'm rather in love with the book. Contents and cover. Yes. I think Simon & Schuster have done a fabulous job with the cover, and it's fantastic, very representative of the story that's inside there. So The Winter Garden is the first book set in Nightingale Square. We've been there twice before, but in the summer, and I was kind of itching to get there and see what it was going to be like at Christmas. So yeah, we've got new residents in the square. We've got lovely Freya, who's a gardener, and she is moving to Nightingale Square to set up the Winter Garden at Prosperous Place. And we have Viking Finn, wonderful Finn. Lots and lots of people are falling in love with him. I don't want to say too much about him if you've not read the book yet, but he's an artist, and he has moved to Prosperous Place, to a studio there. And so they're the new residents in Nightingale Square, and we've got all the usual characters, all the neighbours in Nightingale Square who work in the Grow Well garden, and it's basically how Freya is going to create this beautiful winter garden with a very specific purpose in the run up to Christmas, and we find out how she eventually gets on with Finn.
Yeah.
Tempestuous relationship from the off.
Yeah, we've had our first lovely comment. Let me show you. We have a good evening to you.
Good evening, Kimberley. Hi.
So I have some questions for Heidi, and I have some questions that you have asked ahead of time. But if you do want to ask any questions based off of answers that she gives or questions other people ask, you can comment in the comments section. And then these comments will also show when the video is up on my channel after the live. So if you have any burning questions that you haven't asked yet, put them in the comments and we will try to get to them. But I'm going to start off with hopefully an easy question, hopefully for you.
Okay.
What is the one thing that you love most about the Winter Garden? The one thing you love most about this book?
That is not an easy question, because you're telling me to give you one thing. So no, you're not starting me off with an easy question, but that's fine. The one thing I love, I think, well, in all the books, I like to indulge my own passions. I like to create characters that are really good at things that I would like to be good at, such as crafting or baking or renovating, all that sort of thing. But in the Winter Garden, I got to indulge my passion for gardening, and I'm a decent gardener. I used to be a professional gardener. So I suppose my favourite thing was being able to indulge my love of gardening and being able to share it in a winter book. I'm kind of hoping that it will keep everybody getting outside and enthused about their own gardens, because it's going to be a tricky winter this year for one reason and another. And I think, the benefit of getting outside, it couldn't be more important at the moment. So the one thing that I love most about the book is being able to indulge my passion for gardening, definitely.
And you kind of answered or led nicely into my next question, which is about your own gardening experience. You mentioned it briefly there. Are you a keen gardener? Like, what's your gardening experience? Because I'm not a gardener at all, but this book kind of made me want to go and dig in some soil.
Oh, I love that. That's mission accomplished for me. So that's a double thumbs up. That's brilliant.
I don't have any, but
Okay. All right. Well, allotment, maybe a community garden you could find in your neighbourhood, because they're great. It had my own experience had quite a big influence on the book. My front garden, when I moved here, was just full of shrubs. It was quite nondescript, and it faces west, so the sun sets over the garden at the front. So I decided that it was going to be an autumn through till spring garden with specific planting that was going to look good over the winter months. So we've got things like don't know if people are going to know what they are, but things like dogwoods that are bare stemmed in the winter, and they're bright red and they're bright orange and pink, and they're just ablaze when the sun hits them. And they're underplanted with little tate narcissus and crocuses and snowdrops and things. So I'd already had in mind a long time ago how beautiful a winter garden can be. And Prosperous Place provided the perfect opportunity to indulge that, really. So it was very useful to have all that background knowledge on gardening to be able to pour it into this book. It was great.
So it kind of came quite easily for you.
Yeah, that side of it did, actually. Yes, it did, because I had a vision in my head of what I wanted this garden to look like and the purpose that I wanted it to have. So yes, that was probably the easiest part of the book, I guess, to write. Yeah.
Oh, that's fab. We've got a couple more people saying hi as they're dropping in. We've got Hayley that I actually read the Winter Garden with.
Hello.
Yeah, we read the Winter Garden together across the Atlantic.
Love that.
Texting back and forth. And we've got Claire.
Hi, Claire.
And then we also have my dad. My dad's here.
Hello.
So you mentioned briefly when you were talking about the synopsis of the book that we've been to Nightingale Square before, but we haven't been there at Christmas time. So how was the first festive visit to Nightingale Square? Did it feel different to write?
Oh, did it feel different to write? I don't think it particularly felt different to write. I'd been to Wimbridge so many times over Christmas. I think I've got probably four Christmas books that are Wimbridge based. And I just kept thinking about this community in Nightingale Square and how they all pull together. And I just kept thinking the run up to Christmas and Christmas itself there would be fabulous, And I kind of said to the characters, you'll think I'm mad, but said to them, I want to come at Christmas. What are you going to give me? What have we got? And it was just blissful. It was wonderful. And I live fairly close to Norwich, so I was able to include lots of things that happen in the city in the book, which was a real indulgence, especially as this year they're not going to be happening. So we've got the Christmas market, and we've got the Christmas switch on of the lights and all that sort of thing, and the covered market in Norwich. So it was wonderful to be able to add all those festive elements into the book, knowing that the Nightingale Square residents would go there. So yeah, it was really, really fun to write, and it was interesting to see the garden and the square throughout the winter, and demonstrate how it could still function. It didn't just have to be like a summer party place. It could really work for them over the winter as well. So yeah, it was fun to write, and it was exciting too.
Yeah, I could definitely see the community coming together. And I like the fact that we got to see them during the winter, because one of the things I really like about this book is that it is a winter book. It's not necessarily a Christmas book. I love Christmas books, but sometimes, you need just a book set at winter specifically.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I thought, and that's why we didn't want to put Christmas in the title. I'm really strict about my titles. If there are words in that title, then they are in the book. I don't want to mislead anybody. I've talked a lot about reader responsibility when people write Christmas books. I think if you've got Christmas in the title, then you need a lot of festive detail in that book as the payoff, because that's what a reader is expecting. But yes, so we decided to go with winter in the title, because what do? We run right up to Christmas, don't we, here? So it's not specifically a Christmas book, but there are still lots of festive elements in there.
That actually links really nicely into a question we have. Linda, we know Linda very well, wants to know when in the writing process you come up with the title. So I thought I would drop that one in since you just mentioned it there.
Yeah, okay. Is this Linda Hill by any chance?
No, this is Linda, my mum, Linda.
Linda, mum. Hello, mum. Not seen her for ages either. This is wonderful. It's like a reunion.
Hanging out in the comments as well. She says hello.
Lovely. I'm not going to lie. Titles, nightmare for me. I really, really struggle with titles. It's not very often that I will have written the book and have the title at that point.
Okay.
So I'll have a bit of an idea, but developing the title, it comes with my agent and with the publishing team. We all kind of get together and have a think about it. Although I have to say, The Winter Garden was one of the books that had the title good to go. But some of them we've worked long and hard over to get just right, especially when we changed the titles, because we ended up with some, we had some very, very long ones. And then we decided, when I wrote Poppy, we decided that we were gonna bring the titles down a bit. And actually, I think they might have got easier since then. So maybe less words are easier to find. I don't know, but it's quite unusual for me I would never start a book with a title.
No.
I don't think that's happened at all. The book that I'm writing at the moment, that obviously has already got a title. And my agent, she had a moment of inspiration, and we were just like, yes, that's perfect. So everything clicked into place. But Cherry Tree Cafe and The Winter Garden, I think they're probably the only two books where I had the title before I'd actually submitted the books. So yeah, quite a long way into the writing process before the title happens. And I know a lot of authors can't begin to write until they've got that title. So I suppose it's just, it's your own process and finding your own way. I don't panic. It's okay. We'll get there.
And because you said, you don't have a title to begin with, do you then have your own working title? Do you have a name for it? Or is it just, this is where we're visiting now?
Yeah, quite often. Yeah, more often than not, there is no working title either. I think because I've got the setting so embedded in my head, I know where we're going, I know what we're doing, and I know that out of that story, something prevalent will emerge, and we will be able to pull the title out from that. So no, generally I don't have a working title. It'll be book 11 or book 12. And we'll settle on the title later.
That's cool. Just jumping back and forth. I just thought I'd pop that question in because you kind of led into that.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
We said that this is the first visit to Nightingale Square in the winter time. Would you say you prefer writing your summer or your winter books, or do you not have a preference?
Oh gosh. I don't think I specifically have a preference, but I do love writing the Christmas books because I'm a Christmas nut. I'm a total Christmas fanatic. So I love being able to put in all those festive elements and deciding what's going to go in this book and, what have we already had in another book. So I think I would say I enjoy writing them both equally, but Christmas books have got the edge. Whether that's also because I'm not a fan of heat, I'm not a fan of the summer. If I could kind of zip from end of April to mid-September, I'd be quite happy to miss out those really hot months. I'm not good in the heat. Whether it's my age, it probably is my age, something to do with my age. But yeah, I think maybe the winter books just slightly have the edge. But I love writing them all. They're a joy to write.
Yeah, it must be so fun to kind of really go wild with what people do for Christmas, because obviously we all have limitations on like space and time and money when it comes to our own Christmas plans. So you can take it and be like, okay, these people have lots of space or lots of money, so we can go wild with that.
Exactly. A tree that reaches the roof and all of that. And there were quite a few indulgences in the Winter Garden. There are some changes that are made to the house that Freya is living in. And I had that house and particularly that front room where her tree is, so embedded in my mind, and little things in there that I wanted to change to make absolutely perfect for her Christmas. So that was great fun.
Yeah. Okay. Slightly trickier question now, but I like this question. Was there any part of this novel that was harder to write than others? And if so, why?
Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I'm sure there were parts that were difficult, but I always think that producing a book is a bit like having a baby. And there are bits that are really, really difficult when you're trying to get that book out. But by the time it's written and by the time it's on the shelf, you've kind of forgotten the pain. you've forgotten what were the tricky bits, and you're just really, really, or I'm really, really pleased with the end result. So I can't think of anything in particular that was really hard, but I bet if you'd asked me when I was writing it, I'd go, oh, this bit's giving me an absolute nightmare. But afterwards, it all kind of fades away. It all fades into insignificance. But the book I'm writing at the moment, I'm on draft 2 of that. I've got a deadline for that next week. And I can't tell you what they are, obviously, but there are definite parts of that have been really, really tricky to get right. And I've just wanted them to be, absolutely perfect before the book goes back in. So I've literally been working on a chapter a day. So that's not many pages for 8 or 9 hours work every day. So I would probably be able to answer that question about the book that I'm working on now. But if you ask me about it this time next year, I'd say, I can't remember.
It's interesting. I've heard talk about the fact that putting the book out into the world is like having a baby, but I've never heard them specifically say you forget the pain.
Yeah, you do. I have. I really have. I haven't looked at the book and thought, oh, that was a nightmare to nail down. I've looked at it and I've been fine. I think that generally kind of happens when you get the proof pages. So when you are going through that very final bit where you're actually reading on paper and marking up little things you want to tweak, that's kind of at the point where it begins to feel very much like a real book to me. And I will read it and I'll go, that's not half bad. And that's the point when you forget about looking at that first blank page and then trying to work your way up to page 420 or whatever. So yeah, it kind of the pain and the difficulty recedes with each stage of the writing and producing.
Okay. One of the things that I love about your books is that you have a very diverse range of characters. Not every character is, white, middle class, British, straight. So this question I had to ask, how important as you're writing is it to you that your readers see themselves in your books?
Oh, that's incredibly important, because the world that we live in isn't, well, not everybody's, is white, middle class and straight. So I want everybody to be able to find somebody in their books that they can relate to, whether that's in terms of their sexual orientation, whether they've got a disability, what their race is. I want to have something in there that people can key into. But saying that, it's not something that I kind of put in on purpose. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when I'm thinking about the cast for the book, like Freya, she needed a friend, she needed Chloe, and I knew what I wanted Chloe's job to be, and I knew what I wanted a bit of her history to be. But there were certain things about Chloe that I didn't realise until I started to get her on the page and really get to know her. And then she kind of told me, I don't want to say too much, but she
no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers, but she can't, she showed me things about herself, she told me things about herself as that character developed. So I think a lot of the diversity is quite organic, and it actually comes from the characters themselves. They they quite often land pretty fully formed with a very strong sense of self. And I kind of work with them from that. I want my books to reflect real life. Yeah,
I love that it's like I find it so interesting that the characters come to you fully formed. Is it ever the case that you've kind of got an idea of what characters are in the Nightingale Square, for example, but then another character pops along that you kind of almost didn't expect to come along? Or do you have that planned already? Because obviously with Nightingale Square you've got people who live in each house, but then we have some outsiders who come in and are welcomed. So I
had to kind of I with Nightingale Square, because we've got so few houses around the square, obviously in Poppy, that was why I kind of spread out into the community, so we'd got the row of shops included and all the people that run those, but so in the square we were kind of limited as to who can move into this house and who is going to move out in order to make way for them to come in. And there's one particular character who needed to move on in order for Freya to be able to move in. But I wasn't ready to let that character go, because they're great, and they're good fun, that character. And I thought, I'm not ready to let them go, but I'm going to move them, but they're still going to be important to the book. So with Nightingale Square, it's kind of, where am I gonna fit them in? Who's it gonna be? But I think you also have to be careful when you're thinking about diversity, and make sure you're not putting characters in because you feel as if you should have a particular character in there. They need to be a part of the story, and they need to fit. So you work out who's gonna be the right fit. Those neighbours in Nightingale Square, they need to, for the most part at least, they need to get on.
Yeah.
They're in each other's pockets a lot. They need to be a good crew.
Yeah, absolutely. And they need to be friends with each other, ready to welcome a new person in.
Yeah.
We have to be that supportive community. I love how supportive that community is. I feel like I could walk in there and they'd be like, "Oh, Catriona, I've heard about you from Heidi."
They're fab. They are. They're just so lovely. And I think that's one of the things I enjoyed about writing the festive book there, because they're in a city, but they're still that little community, but they're still very inclusive. They'll welcome everybody in, which is lovely. It's really lovely.
Yeah. Talking about the characters, we've had a question in the comments, and then I have a question from Instagram that kind of links in nicely with this. Now, you might not be able to answer this one, but Claire wants to know your favourite character from the Winter Garden specifically.
Oh, okay. So from my beautiful book, who's my favourite character? Well, I can answer that.
Okay.
And it's probably a bit of an odd answer, but it's Nell, the rescue dog. I just love her, and I feel as if she is a character in the book. She's got her own neuroses, she's got her own hang-ups, and she's really important in the book, and I just love writing her. And lots of people have been in touch and said, "Oh, you've described my dog to me. You've got my dog perfectly there," But I think it's probably Nell. I loved writing her, and lots of people have fallen in love with Finn. I mean, he's just a hunker man, isn't he? He's just fabulous. But it's Nell. It's that little dog,
and she provides quite a good get out of certain situations as well.
Yes, she does.
Useful companion.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, if Freya's kind of feeling a bit jittery about something, or she's got a bit of a problem, Nell is all, Nell needs her. So yeah,
exactly. I think Nell probably knows that Freya's feeling that way, and so she'll be like,
they're very tuned in. Yeah, they're very tuned into each other. So yeah, I think she was my favourite character. I don't think I've ever had a dog as a favourite character, although I do love all the dogs that I write in. But Nell is a definite favourite.
Yeah, I loved reading Nell. And then linking in with some more characters, we had a couple of questions on Instagram, specifically about couples. So we had the term ultra couple. So your favourite couple from the Nightingale Square series and then the Wimbledon series.
That's a great question. I've never been asked that before. I've been asked about individual characters, but not an ultra couple. I love that. Gosh, right, okay. So Wimbridge series ultra couple. Have they got to be main characters, do you think?
I don't think so. Like if you've got a couple that you like that are a side character.
Okay. From Wimbridge, and more specifically Winthorpe Hall series, I love Angus and Catherine. They kind of feel like the mum and dad to everybody in that, because the hall is its own little community, isn't it, in itself? And mischievous Angus and long-suffering Catherine, I love that pair. I think they're great. So I think they would be my favourites for Wimbridge.
It's although so interesting, when I read this question, they're the couple that sprung to my mind first.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. That's great to know. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I love that.
They're so fun to read about, and they're so different, but they work so well as a couple because they're so different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could cope with an Angus in my life. Not really. as much as I love him, I think I'd like to, I could have him as a friend and keep him at a distance to be amused by him, but I wouldn't want to have to live with him and manage him, because he needs managing, really, doesn't he? He can't be left to his own devices.
Yeah.
But I love Gemma. Tom doesn't get so much page space, I suppose, but I love Gemma. And lots of people say to me, are you ever going to write a book about Gemma? And I just kind of feel she's such an important character. She's like the linchpin in so many of the books. I've been chatting with her today, funnily enough. She's in the book that I'm writing at the moment. But I feel as if she's settled, because she's married and she's got her multiple businesses now and she's got the children. And so I don't think she has her own story to tell, but I do think she's going to continue to be very important in subsequent Wimbridge titles. So, right, a couple for Nightingale Square. Oh. I do love Mark and Neil. I do love Mark and Neil, and I think there is more of there's more to come from them. I'm sure they've got more to tell us and more to show us. So they,
I'd love to hear more from them.
Yeah. I think that they're a fab couple. So you've got an architect and you've got a baker, and again they're quite different, these two guys, but they fit perfectly. So yeah, ultra couple there, Mark and Neil.
Oh, and I love
that. Yeah. But I like all the couples there, to be honest. This is a really tricky question. This is too much for 7 o'clock in the evening for my little brain. Right, okay. Weymouth, I don't want to commit to giving you an ultra couple for Weymouth because it's still so brand new, to be honest. We're still, we haven't got to know all that many people from Weymouth at the moment. And there's hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be a return visit to Weymouth at some point in the future, because I feel as if the place has definitely got more than one book in it. So yeah, I'm not gonna commit to that one. Maybe in a couple of years I'll come back, and maybe we'll have 2 or 3 books under our belt, and I'll
ask you the question again.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll be able to do it in person then.
Yeah, wouldn't that be wonderful? Gosh, that would be fab.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll bank that question for when we've had another visit to Weymouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about nice things, because this is a nice hour escape away from everything.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes. We're heading into the festive season. In the supermarket yesterday, it was fully, all the Christmas stuff was out. What are some of your favourite wintry activities? And then I have a follow-up question from somebody on Instagram as well that kind of links into other festive activities.
Okay. Well, I love Christmas, absolutely love it. And I'm a pagan lady at heart, so I celebrate Yule. So we kind of get going really quite early. And even from now, when I go out for walks, I'm starting to bring, you'll notice this on my Instagram feed, I'm starting to bring different leaves and berries and things into the house. So dressing the house is something that I absolutely love. There's always a lot of greenery about, lots of candles in the evening, just cozying down and getting that really, really nice cozy evening feeling going. So I love that. So that starts now, and like fairy lights, if I had the door behind me open, you'd see that my hall ceiling is decked out with warm white fairy lights, and they stay up all year round because I like that, just kind of that twinkly loveliness. So what other festive treats do I like? I like baking early. So I will start on the mince pies and the sausage rolls. It's not very sophisticated baking, it's all quite simple, but I like to get going with that. That starts to get me in the mood.
Well, then you get the smell.
Yeah, exactly. All those lovely scents, and you get the oranges with the cloves studded in and all that sort of thing. I love that. So lots of kind of festive crafting, I suppose you could call it. I really enjoy that. And then sort of closer to Christmas, obviously dressing the house. I love dressing the house. I love Christmas shopping. I know lots of people say they don't like Christmas shopping, but I'm very organised. I have a list and I will do it. I'll probably do, years that we could, I would do a trip per person. So I wasn't spreading myself too thin, and I would just have a few things on the list. So You could go up into the city and, you start with a coffee, don't you, and a mince pie, because you've had the journey. So then you have to get into shopping mode. So you start with that.
Absolutely agree. A festive drink.
Yeah, you got to ease yourself in. And then I'm very specific. I'll know which shops I want to go in, and I know what I want to get when I'm in there. And I kind of find that by doing that, you can enjoy it. There's no rush, there's no panic, there's no where am I going to go, what am I going to get. I have it all planned out in my head before I do it. This is making me sound really OCD, isn't it? But it's all about enjoying that experience. So then you have to stop for lunch. So that'll be a turkey and a cranberry sandwich somewhere nice and a hot chocolate. Then a bit more shopping in the afternoon. Time to come home early evening. So yeah, shopping, Christmas shopping, I absolutely love that. And I always read A Christmas Carol on December the 1st. That's a really firm tradition for me, as is watching carols from King's on Christmas Eve. I love that. I have to be sitting down with a sherry and a mince pie to watch that. That's really important. Gosh, I could go on and on and on here.
That sherry and a mince pie leads into a question from Instagram. Ash wants to know, what's your favourite festive beverage?
Now, once upon a time, it would have been a baby sham, but I'm tending to drink baby sham all through the year now because I can get it in my local supermarket, and I love a baby sham. I like drinking out the proper baby sham glass. It feels very decadent, even though it is only a little Perry. So I love that.
Are so glam.
Oh, aren't they? Aren't they? I've got some original ones, which a friend from Scotland bought me a few years ago. And then I have some new ones which came out at Christmas a couple of years ago. They had a box with a new glass in and a little bottle and some other bits and pieces. And I got one for me and one for my daughter. And we felt quite the business sitting there drinking out of these glasses. That was lovely. So favourite Christmas beverage now? Champagne with Christmas lunch. Got to have champagne with Christmas lunch. So I do like a drop of fizz. But I like a Baileys. And I do like sherry.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a popular choice, but I do like a nice glass of sherry. So
I know for a fact we have some sherry fans watching right now. Don't ask me how I know
excellent.
that. I know for a fact.
Right, I'm in good company.
I would like to see your baby sham glasses on your Instagram, please. Can I put that request in?
Absolutely. Do you know what? In fact, I think they were on there fairly recently, funnily enough. Okay. But yeah, I will keep posting them. I'll keep posting.
Glamorous glasses. And going back to your Christmas shopping, you being organised about having a list. And I do my Christmas shopping all year long and always have them. So if I'm somewhere in March and I see something and think that would make a lovely present then I get it all year long. And yes, obviously this year I've had to be a little bit more organised. So Mum got a parcel with some Christmas presents in at the beginning of October. So there we go.
Oh, bless you. I think that's a really good idea, though. I like that because there's nothing nicer, is there? I like getting presents myself, but I think the joy really is in giving the present and getting the right gift for the right person. There's something so satisfying about that. I love doing that.
I really like
you're
the
right.
idea of having a separate trip for each person, because any excuse for more shopping.
Exactly. So yeah, the more people you buy for, the more trips you have to make, and I love that. Just stay up late enough until all the lights come on, and it's gorgeous. Love it. And I do like going up quite close to Christmas when I haven't got any shopping to do, just for the sake of being able to go up and have a look at everything. I think that's lovely.
Yeah. That's nice, and knowing that you've got everything ready, and maybe you'll find something for yourself while you're up there as well.
Well, there is that. Yeah, there is that. I'm not very good at buying presents for myself, I have to say. It doesn't happen very often. But perhaps that could be a new tradition.
I like that. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And then just going back to the festive beverage, are you a fan of like the festive coffees that we get everywhere now? Like,
do you know, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, there you go. That's it. What about a hot chocolate? Like the
love a hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
Love that. Oh, Black Forest hot chocolate, delicious.
I love that one.
But no, coffee is. I adore the smell of coffee. I love it. I think there's nothing nicer. But I just don't like the taste.
Fair enough.
Unpopular opinion. Sorry, guys. But give me a cup of tea any day, or a Black Forest hot chocolate.
Love that Black Forest hot chocolate.
Some nice cream on the top and a cherry.
Yeah, and they put that cherry sauce on it. It's so good.
Delish.
Hayley is all about the festive drinks as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, going out, and we had a party here a few years ago. Got everybody together, and that was lovely. I'd been bought a lot of champagne. I think it was my dad sent me a box of champagne. You know, lots of bottles in a box. And I was like, we're never going to drink all this. What should we do? Oh, we'll have a Christmas party. And it was riotous, but it was wonderful. It was lovely to get everybody together all in one place. And of course, the nice thing about doing it in your own home is at the end of the day, you've not got to go anywhere.
That's it. You don't have to worry about driving or getting a taxi and stuff. We have another person who prefers tea as well.
Yay! Good choice. Good choice.
I like
love
both. I'll drink anything.
Not talking about tea and coffee now.
And then Hayley also said that she had the after 8 hot chocolate today.
Oh, now I haven't tried that. I bet that's gorgeous, actually, because I haven't got a particularly sweet tooth. So that's probably that mintiness. That's probably really nice, isn't it?
It does sound like something that we could recreate at home.
Yeah.
You know, whilst we're staying at home, I have put like peppermint schnapps into like hot chocolate before, which kind of creates the same thing, doesn't it?
Oh, I like the sound of that. I think we could have a whole little tasting session going on here over the next few weeks.
I agree. But I can picture some like after 8s, maybe melting, bit of milk, bit of squirt cream with a little after 8 stuck in it.
That would be lovely. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. I like
the sound of that. I can't get after 8s here though.
No. Oh, well, you have to get Mum to send you some. Can you send that sort of thing? I don't know.
You can, yeah. I don't know if they get squished though, because they're quite delicate, aren't they?
Yeah, they'd have to be very well packaged, I think.
Yeah. Chocolate oranges we can get here, but not after 8s. Yeah. I can't do chocolate orange though. I like chocolate. I do not like orange, and so putting them together is like
that. Oh, see, now that is the one chocolate that I will probably have at Christmas. I'm not that keen. You know, we have tubs of celebrations and Quality Street and roses and all that. I'm not bothered about all those. I can leave that. I can, that could be open for weeks and I wouldn't touch it. But a chocolate orange, that does not last 5 minutes.
No, I like the toffee part of the Quality Street, but not the like fruit cream part. But Ollie eats all the fruit cream parts and doesn't like the toffee part, so we work really well on a tin.
Oh, you're a match made in heaven. That's that's perfect. That is. I like
again. There you go. There you go. Oh, we're making people craving. Oh, and Mum says she's going to try and send some after 8s.
Oh, super fab. Actually, I have seen them for sale in some places in like a presentation tin.
Oh, right.
So they'd probably survive better if your mum can get them in a tin thing.
Be heavy, that might work. Though, that's the only thing. Expensive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then we've got white chocolate orange.
See, now I find white chocolate a little bit on the sweet side. Yeah. But I'm willing to give it a go, to be honest. I'm willing to try it.
All these taste tests that you're going to be doing coming up.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
It's going to be horrendous. I'm going to be walking around the village twice as much from here on in, I think.
Okay. We're going to loop it back to some writing. So I've got a couple of questions from pre-questions and a couple of questions in the comments here about the writing process and what you're currently writing, because that's what we all want to know. I know we're easing into trying to get all the goss out of you.
I'm gonna have to be really careful.
Priyanka would like to know what your writing regime is, your writing routine.
That depends very much on which stage of the write that I'm on. So if I'm writing the first draft, if all the planning has done and the synopsis has been approved and I'm sitting down to write the first draft, I will split my day up. So I will do I will do 7 till 9, I will write. 9 till 10, I'll have a break. 10 till 12, I'll write. 12 till 1, I'll have a break. 1 till 3, I'll carry on. 1 to 3, I'll carry on. But sometimes, conversely, I will start at about 6 o'clock in the morning and then just write through until lunchtime. So that will be when I'm working on a first draft. It is head down, focus, get on with it. And I like to get the first draft written in about 12 to 14 weeks if I can. Don't tell my editor that, because she'll want everything ahead of deadline. But I like to get it down, then give it a couple of weeks, and then go back in and start working on it again up until submission time. If I'm editing, that tends to take longer because you're going through things. It's a bit of a fine-tooth comb job, and you could be changing. You can change something really tiny at the beginning of a book, but it will have repercussions potentially throughout the whole book. So editing takes more concentration, if you like. You've got to tie up all those loose ends. So that I will tend to do in the morning, and I'll stop by about lunchtime, and then afternoon I'll be doing other things. So it does vary depending on what I'm doing, and quite often I will be working on the proofs, so that very final stage of a book before it goes to print, while I'm writing a first draft, and that takes a bit of juggling. I will tend to write the first draft in the morning and then do the proofs in the afternoon. So it's not really a cut and dry question, that one. It will depend on what stage I'm writing at. But I do try and take Saturdays and Sundays off if I can. I ended up working every day through October, which was tricky. We had a lot going on. We had a family bereavement in October. We had a COVID hiccup in October, and it just kind of meant that I couldn't take weekends off, because I mentally just couldn't focus long enough Monday to Friday. I set myself a task of just doing so many hours per day and then just bowled through it. But I wouldn't like to have to do that again. I found that I was struggling doing 7 days a week, that I do like to have a break at the weekend, really.
Yeah. There's a lot of appreciation for your organisation going on in the comments, and people talking about their own writing. So Hayley's saying that she signed up for NaNoWriMo and haven't looked. And then Priyanka that asked the question saying, she's an early morning person.
Yeah.
But linking into what Hayley said, Nicole's saying that she's kind of struggling a little bit. So if you have any planning or writing tips, kind of linking into what you just said.
All right, I'm just going to read that out. I'm currently trying to write my first book, but I keep thinking of giving up as I'm worried it will never be good enough. Any planning, writing tips? Nicole, if this was 6 years ago, it would say Heidi Swain at the top of that comment. I can promise you that, because I think we all start off feeling like that. And that's what held me back for years. It was a lack of confidence. I can't tell you, if I could turn my camera around, which I'm not going to because I'm going to upskittle everything, but I've got stacks and stacks of notebooks here, and I never used to write in them for fear of writing the wrong words and making mistakes and messing the books up. And I had to kind of get over that in my head, and I just began to think that the only person who was going to see what I was writing was me. So it didn't matter if I made a mess. It didn't matter if it wasn't good enough, because I realised that if I didn't start with something, I wouldn't have anything to work on, and it would never get better. So I think the most important thing is to get yourself a busy book, and it must be a notebook that you're not really prissy about. It doesn't have to be pretty. A4, big A4 pads I use a lot, because I can scribble in those and make a mess. So they're really good for getting your ideas down, and just write down everything. Write down every single idea that you have, and just go for it. You just absolutely have to go for it. It was Mandy Baggett who said to me, I met her it was called the Festival of Romance. I met her at the Festival of Romance. We talked a bit online. I told her I'd got this book good to go. And she was like, well, what's holding you back? And just like you, Nicole, it was, I don't know if it's good enough. I want to put it out there, but I'm not sure. And she basically just said to me, if you want to be a writer, get on with it. You've got to make that shift in your head. If you really want it, you've got to make it happen. And that kind of really struck a chord with me I'd got a big birthday looming, and I thought, yeah, if I don't get on with this and do it, I'm not going to have time to achieve what it is that I want to do. So in terms of writing tips, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is just get on and write. Worry about it being good enough when you've got it down, because if you don't start, you'll never know.
I'm sure that will be helpful to a lot of people watching this.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. And I mean, I joined the, it depends which genre you're writing, obviously, but I joined the Romantic Novelist Association New Writers Scheme, where you can put a manuscript in every year and have it critiqued. And I know my publishers, Books in the City, they're having RNA specific opportunities to submit to them as well. So joining the RNA is absolutely fantastic, and everybody is very friendly and very nurturing. And that was the book. That was where I put the Cherry Tree Cafe, the first book, and the critique came back from that, and it was very positive. And that was when I decided to launch. But it's getting over that in your head, getting over that worry that what you're doing isn't good enough. It doesn't matter, because nobody else is going to see it to start with. Just, give it your all and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's like I say, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be helped by that. And it's interesting, so many people mention the support that the RNA do, and like you say, Books in the City just announced their partnership with them, and the one day, and it's fabulous.
Okay. They're fantastic.
We're going to jump into the question that everyone wants to know. So we've had questions about what you're writing now, and are we, going to a Christmas book, people getting excited about possibly going back to Weymouth, and then specifically on Instagram, Lucy wants to know, will there be another Nightingale Square book? So I don't know if you want to answer this and cover everything. Tell us anything that you can.
Okay. Right, I'll start with what I'm working on at the moment. So the book I'm working on at the moment is called A Taste of Home, and it takes us back to Wimbridge in the summer, which I'm so excited about, because we haven't been to Wimbridge in the summer since I wrote Cuckoo Cottage, and I think that was book 4, and we're on to about book 11 now. So it was a long time ago. So we're going back to Wimbridge. So we will see characters from previous books. I'm not going to be too specific about which ones, but a new main character. So a new setting in or around Wimbridge as well. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm just putting the finishing touches on the second draft. Very, very happy with the story. We've got a fabulous main character. She's great. Gorgeous leading man. And lots of peripheral characters who are new to the book, and that they're all wonderful. So I'm hoping you're going to enjoy getting to know those. So that's going to be out next April. I think it's April the 29th.
Oh,
so quite an early book. Seaside Escape, that came out in April as well. So that's a really nice time to be out, because the weather's just starting to change, and people are starting to think about their summer reads. So yeah, Taste of Home in Wimbridge, summer 21. Going back to Nightingale Square, I'm pretty certain that we will be going back to Nightingale Square. I've no idea what the story will be yet, but I know that there are characters living in the square who have got so much more to show us. I'm also trying to think about where they could be moving into, thinking about those characters in the square. Is anybody ready to move on, perhaps, or have a bit of a change? In fact, something has popped into my head just as we've said that. So yeah, so there could be a free house in Nightingale Square, she says, picking up pen and notepaper before she forgets. So yeah, we will definitely be going back to Nightingale Square. That will be wonderful. Whether it will be a summer or a winter book, I'm not sure. That will kind of depend on where I go next with the book for next Christmas. Because last year I signed a 4-book deal with Simon & Schuster, and I think, if my calculations are right, I can't remember if the Winter Garden was the first one in there, but we've got, there are so many books to come. I've got so many more ideas, so we will definitely be going back to all 3 places.
That's what we all need to hear.
Good,
so many more books to come. We're all excited. Lots of people excited about, grateful for what you said about writing. So Priyanka says she feels motivated to start writing. It's 1 a.m. there, so there we go.
Fine, go for it. Yeah, it doesn't matter what time it is. Brilliant.
And then Nicole says, thank you so much, Heidi. I've been busy book on the go after hearing you talk about them before. There you go. I've got a rough chapter written so far, so I'll definitely keep going. And then Kelly says, thanks for the advice, Heidi. It's what I needed to hear. I'm struggling with getting my own idea on paper for NaNoWriMo. So yeah, lots of people out there doing NaNoWriMo. I'm sure that advice is completely invaluable.
Yeah, oh, that's great. That's really, really good to hear, because it doesn't matter if you're doing nano, it doesn't matter what time you're writing, it doesn't matter where you're writing. You've got to find a system that works for you. Lots of people say, oh, what's your writing regime? Or are you a plotter or are you a pantser? How do you work? And it's really interesting to find out how other people work. But don't think that because what one person says doesn't work for you, then nothing will, because it's all about finding your own way and finding your own routine. And I'm still learning that. Every time I write a book, there will be something that I change, something different that I do. And it takes a long time to get into that kind of routine and find what works. And what works for one book might not work for the next. So you've got, be flexible, and don't be hard on yourselves. Be kind to yourselves and enjoy it. That's the most important thing. And so many people say to me, oh, if I had time, I would write a book. Do not wait for that, because you will never magically have that time. That's something that, that you will never find. There will always be a reason not to write. I was working as a teaching assistant when I wrote, I think the first 4, even 5 of my books. And I used to get up at 5 in the morning and I would write for an hour before everybody else got up. And then I would get everyone off to school. I would go to school. Then I would sit in my car for my lunch hour, and it would either be freezing cold or boiling hot. And I would write longhand for another hour. And then in the evening, I would type up what I'd written. And even though I could only get a few hundred words down, it just kept the flow going. So even though I was working and I'd got a young family and everything else that goes along with that, still managed to find the time. It wasn't all that long, but you will be able to find the time if you want to.
That's great advice.
That's me getting on my hobby horse. I'm sorry.
I love it. And then we've got a lot of excitement about upcoming books. We've got excitement for possibly going back to Winmouth, going back to Wimbridge in the summer.
Got a strawberry there. Nicole has been looking at the holding cover. She's seen the strawberry on there. Yes, strawberries feature in a big way.
I love it. And then Claire says that it's going to be out just after her birthday. So sounds like that's the perfect thing to put on her birthday list.
Perfect present. Fabulous.
And then, lots of thanks for struggling writers. I love it. We've got like a little writing workshop going on over here. Fabulous. And then Hayley also said, there we go. She's started. She's not got the whole story, but maybe her characters will come to you like yours do.
Yeah, I mean that's quite often how writers work. They might just have the essence of an idea and let it grow organically as they go along. I'm more of a planner. I have the synopsis, which I have to submit to my editor, so we know what the story is going to be about. And then I have a plan. Quite often I tell you what's really useful, a calendar timeline. I print out an actual calendar, especially for the Christmas books, because I'm from writing about Wimbridge. I want the switch on and the tree auction and all these other things to happen on the right days when they've happened in previous books. So that's really useful. But as I go along, if I've written something into the synopsis and the character goes, do you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do this instead. Then I go with it, because they know the story better than I do, if that makes sense.
I love that.
Yeah, always be.
Yeah. And then we've got a little bit of strawberry appreciation.
Yay! That final cover is going to be delicious. I know it is. I can taste it from here, to be honest.
So exciting. But obviously, we do Love the cover of the Winter Garden as well. Let me angle it. Oh, it's so hard to go backwards.
I've got to go that way. There we go. I'll go that way. Yeah.
So lovely.
So pleased with this.
It looks equally lovely in the Denver sunshine as it does in the UK 8 p.m. just about time. There we go. Let's see the bookmark again.
I don't know if you can see. There you go. So I've got that on one side and then these on the other. And I've been using these in giveaways and things. I had some made for Secret Seaside Escape and they were so popular. I thought, right, I think this is going to be in every book kind of feature now, these bookmarks. People seem to really like them. Lovely.
We love that. Okay. If you can believe it, we are just about out of time. We've been chatting for just about an hour and making everyone hungry and excited, and it's just too much excitement for a Wednesday evening. Yeah, there we go.
Wonderful.
It is beautiful. It's so true.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the fact that it goes onto the back as well. Oh,
yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
I can't deal with this mirroring on here. It's too much.
Yeah, I keep going the wrong way. I'm not very, I'm not great at that. But I love the little robins and things on here and the lights. It's just beautiful.
Gone back.
Really happy with it.
Yeah. So thank you so much to you for giving up an hour of your Wednesday evening to come and chat with us all and answer some really difficult questions. And thank you for all the super secret info about upcoming books that you've given us. I'm so excited. We're all excited to travel back and see these characters and see these places and see who else is going to be traveling to all these different locations.
I've got some ideas I need to go and write down.
We'll let you go and write these ideas down, and everyone else is off to make like Christmas hot chocolates and things like that.
Perfect. Perfect. And thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you so much for everybody for asking such fantastic questions. I can't believe that is an hour gone already. That's amazing.
I know. People thought of some really good questions. So it's been really nice to have, some people chatting in the comments as we go along. And for everybody watching live and everybody watching afterwards, the link to order the Winter Garden is in the description box below if you haven't got your copy yet and you need to after this chat. Definitely. Thank you very much. Is there anything you want?
My pleasure. Thank you.
Any final thoughts you want to leave us with before we go?
I just want to say to everybody that even though we're facing quite a difficult winter this year, please try and get outside at least once a day, either in your own garden or a quick walk around your own sort of local patch. I've been taken to getting up about 6:30, and if it's dry, I go for a walk. So take a note from the Winter Garden this winter, and if you can get outside, please do, because I can promise you're going to feel heaps better for doing it.
Definitely.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you very much. And we are going to sign off there. Thank you to everyone for watching, whether you watched live or whether you've caught up afterwards. And thank you so much again to Heidi for giving up your time to be here.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Waving. Yeah.